Welcome to Tell to Trevor, guys. I'm your host, Trevor Shelley, and today on my podcast, I have give yourself an introduction.
I'm Olivia Devine. Your screen froze. But I'm Olivia Devine.
All right. My favorite question to always start this podcast off with is, what sparked your interest in the professional wrestling industry?
Um, what's really weird is that I was probably like 11 years old, and I was just scrolling through the channel. I was bored. Didn't know what to do to watch, and I come across SmackDown, and it was Booker T versus I think he was beefing with Kurt Angle at the time. Um,
Okay.
and I saw Charmel's face. I was looking at her for some reason, made me say, I want to do that. It looks pretty cool. I don't know why. I just looked at her and I said, I want to do that, and that's just where it started at that point.
Yeah. Let's see. Who were your wrestling mentors growing up? Like the wrestlers you idolized as a kid?
Growing up, I actually loved Shawn Michaels. I've always just been a Shawn Michaels fan. I don't know why. I can never do half stuff he's doing, but I just like everything. I like how he sells. I like how he just works the crowd. I love how the crowd just interacts with him. Just something about him just always draw me to him every time I will watch
Yeah.
TV. And I like Booker T too a lot.
How did you get your start in the wrestling world?
I was working at Pizza Hut, and I was young when I was working there when I was like 16. Now all I'd ever talked about was wrestling at that point. And I was like, how can I figure out how to go to school? I want to do, that's all I want to do. And somebody just happened to know somebody that did it. So that's kind of how I got connected. So it's like a person of a person type of situation. Just kind of put me with it. And then when I turned 18, or 19, that's when they let me in, and I did all the training and stuff like that. And that's just kind of that's just kind of what happened at that point. I just said okay. It was hard,
Which
but I loved it.
which school did you go to for your training?
Um, I started with this place called High Spots. I wrestled a few years before, but it was one of those like backyard situations. So I really don't claim it just because it wasn't professionally training. It was just one of those situations where I just wanted to wrestle and I didn't know any better. But when I figured out, okay, I can't get anywhere here, and it took somebody else for me to get on there, I started training at High Spots with George South.
Okay. I've
That's where.
had a couple people, I think, a couple people from High Spots. Jordan Holtz and Zay Vega
Oh yeah, I was
from
there when
High
they
Spots.
first came in. They some cool
And
dudes. I
then
like them.
my best friend trained there too, Emily J.
She trained. I didn't. I mean, she must been. It must have been when I wasn't there. I know who she is though. She's really. I love her. She's my favorite. I love her.
It's funny because it's been 1 year, me and her being friends, but it's like that best friend bond. Like I tell her, I was like, every time you get a new shirt, I always have to buy it to support. And she was
She's
like,
a really cool
"What only
person.
for?" Yes, especially with her mom in the crowd and everything.
I love her mom. Her mom be cheering her. That's a cheerleader. That's like that. I wish I had
Yeah.
a mom like that. She's really nice.
See, for me, because I tried training to be a wrestler down at Palmetto Wrestling Academy down
Oh, with
in
Ethan
South
King.
Carolina. Yes. Um, and then had an ingrown toe, took a break for a while to let my foot heal,
Oh wow.
and then stopped going there. Went to XWW, which was at the
Extreme World Wrestling.
yeah.
Oh
I
yeah,
was
I've
trained
trained there a few times before.
with Cam
Who'd you train?
Jackson and Cam Jackson.
Oh yeah, I've trained with him before because he trains there, and then sometimes he trains at Evolution on Mondays. So I've trained him, especially me coming back from injury. He's really good at cardio. And my trainer,
Yes.
I train with James Drake. and he suggested me to train with Cam. I said, I didn't know he even trained because me and Cam came out around the same time. I didn't know he was training the schools. And my trainer was like, yeah, he's really good. You should give him a try and, get some extra ring time. So I was like, okay. So I reached out to him and he told me what his schedule was. And his first class was a lot. I was like, oh, you really do be you do be running this class. Okay. It's a lot of
Yes.
work.
The one thing I will say I enjoyed was because I sucked at bumps, and that was like the one thing that drove me away from Palmetto when I was training because we do like three tries and then we move on to the next thing.
Hmm.
Cam knew I was struggling. He was like, "Hey, come in on your personal day, and we're gonna help you work on bumps the whole day."
Oh my God.
So we spent like 2 hours doing bumps.
He's so Oh yeah, well, he
And
one thing about Cam, he gonna make sure you get it. He
yes,
gonna
and
make sure you get it together.
that's the one thing I liked. And then I was like, I want to focus more doing my podcast. It's my thing. It's my brand, and it's something I love doing more than being a wrestler.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes people have more passion. There's a lot of people that wrestle just for fun, but they have a
yeah,
passion somewhere else. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
right. But like for me, I've had people text me. They're like, "Are you ever going to get in the ring?" And I'm like, "No." It's like I was like, I always put my like passion to it, and then 3 or 4 months later, it just stops clicking with me. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing this
Mm,
anymore.
it'd be like that.
Yeah,
I was
but go ahead.
I was gonna say I was in when I used to work with OVW in Kentucky. I used to stay at this person's house that also, he lived there and he would train, and he would let some of us that come from out of state stay with him on the throughout the week whenever they had shows on Thursdays. And he was a camera guy, and he literally was training and everything. And I asked him the same question. I said, "Is this something you want to do full time? You know what you're doing?" He's
Yeah,
like, "Nah, I kind of not really passionate about it. I actually like doing this over here." And I was like, "So this just a He said, "Yeah, I don't know if I don't." He said the same thing. He don't think he'll ever like do anything with it, but I guess he just enjoyed the camaraderie. Is that the word? He just enjoyed being around the people there that made it fun. So there's some people that do stuff like that. They'll do it
yeah,
for the fun of it, but they actually have something they're more passionate about.
yeah. Because for me, I also play ice hockey on the side of this as a
Okay.
like full time sports thing because I have a best friend that plays it, but I grew up playing it from the age I think 8 or 7. So for me to do this all like doing that and then switching over sports after like my knees all worn out from over the years playing ice hockey and
Yeah.
a lot of back cramps from doing face offs and everything. And everybody's like, "Are you gonna ever retire from hockey?" And I was like, honestly, no. I was like, I spend like from 9 o'clock, 9:50 at night to 12:30 in the morning just training with a bunch of guys.
Sounds like a
And
fun time.
it's it's a fun hobby, I will say that, because I don't get paid to do it. I wish.
Yeah.
But a lot of people they'll text me and they'll be like, "Why don't you go to free agencies?" And I was like, I'm not paying $20 to spend like 4 hours sweating and just trying to work my butt off to get picked by the local teams.
Um, well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with. I mean, if wrestling is really something you got to dedicate yourself to because it can absorb a lot of your time. So if it's not something you're passionate about, you would be
Yeah,
kind of wasting your time doing it. Unless you just enjoy bumping yourself around the ring. Some people do.
yeah,
Ain't many of them, but there's some people that just don't mind it. But if it's not something you want to do like long term, you shouldn't. You don't want to mess up your joints for no reason.
yeah. Um, let's see. What was your first wrestling match like?
Ugh, it was it was It was fun, but it was rough at the same time because I was still trying to figure things out. I
Yeah.
didn't know who I was. I wasn't the most athletic on top of that. So from what I can remember, I guess for me, I was embarrassed because I'm a perfectionist. I don't like not succeeding. So, I'm my biggest critic. So in my head, it was terrible. I could have done better. It was an experience, but at the same time, though, it was a learning experience, and I did have fun. I just hated how I moved in the ring. So it was
Yeah.
something. No one got hurt though, so
Like,
that's all that mattered.
one thing also, like for me, it was my senior year of hockey. I told everybody, I was like, let me go like all out. I was like, I don't care what happens, I'm going all out. And they're all I hear from the parents, I'm walking up to get like food after the game with everybody. And they're like, you ever play travel? And I was like, nope, I tried out, didn't make the team.
Oh,
But I told them, I was like, yeah, if I made travel, I would probably be in college hockey or something, but it's never been that full passion of like going to clinics, hockey clinics, just to learn more from like professionals.
yeah,
Because the only like clinic I went to was my best friend, Danielle Degano, Joey Degano's older sister or younger sister.
hmm
She runs a hockey clinic, and I always try to go to when I can. And she'll bring in like former NHL players teaching, and I'm like, at least I'm learning or getting better at what I need to get better.
yeah, that's a cool thing.
Yes, expensive but cool.
Yeah, some hobbies is an investment. You gotta love it, because otherwise you're just blowing money away.
Yes, it's because we call the league I'm currently in called D League. It's Development League. So we have
Okay,
like coaches that come out. We learn for an hour and 30 minutes on the same stuff every week, and it's my third year since moving back from New York to here.
okay.
But everybody's like, they're gonna like kick you out sooner or later, and I was like, you know what, that'll be the day they kick me out. I was like, especially when I'm best friends with the owner of the building, I really doubt it.
Yeah, you got that kind of pull. You're gonna be there for a while unless you start beefing with
Yeah,
unless y'all fall out.
which is
That's
really
a good
hard to
advantage though.
really beef with them because the owner shows up during the daytime when I'm working my full time job and everything. So avoid that person just to because I know she's a mom now and everything. So
Yeah, hey, whatever, whatever works out for you, that's all that matters.
yeah. What are your goals for the future in the wrestling industry?
My goal is to make it a TV. That's what I want. I mean, I know that's something that not always possible for everybody. But until they tell me that I can't, for whatever reason, I'm just going to continue to tell myself that I'm going to be there one day. I really believe in manifesting. I truly believe in, when you want something, you should go get it. So until they tell me, nah, we ain't doing it, I'm just going to keep working on myself, keep progressing, keep training, get myself out there more and more, learn how to promote stuff on the internet. But my goal is to be on TV one day. I don't like to put time frames on things because you never you can't. But that's the only goal I have in my head is to make it. If I can just at least make the NXT tryout,
Yeah,
the only goal that I have right now. If I can make it beyond that, then that's another thing. But I would be content with my career if I ever made it to a tryout and it just didn't work out. I'm actually content with that. At least I was in my head. I was at least good enough for the tryout because they don't.
yeah.
Not everybody can do them. Not everybody gets those opportunities. So that's just kind of where I'm at right now.
I do know since they got the WWE ID, it makes it a lot easier for a bunch of wrestlers to try to get in there.
Yeah, I've seen that, but it really is based off who you know. So I'm also trying to make sure I be with the right with the right people because those are not even though that's there, not everybody can get one either. It really depends on how I don't know how they get it. I just know it depends on who you train with and who you're around and whose attention you got. So, but that's why I be training. I train at Cozone School, where
Yeah,
because I know that where what's Jack I can't think of his name right now. But Jack had got one. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, okay. And then,
yeah.
Malachi, he went to WWE. I was like, okay, coach on, get your students out here on TV. So, I've trained him throughout the years since I've started. So, not that I want to use him for that, but hopefully, you know, training with him and maybe even working, doing shows with him, maybe I'll get a little attention, I don't know. Just throwing it in the air.
Plug my phone in so it doesn't die while we're charging.
Okay.
I mean, while we're recording.
I do see it says 1%.
So that 1%, it's like recording speed
Oh, okay.
because yeah, because it's saving the one I did just before yours
Okay.
at like 5 o'clock. So let's see. Can you describe your wrestling persona or character?
Yeah, she's just an addiction. Can't get enough of her.
Can you share a memorable moment from your wrestling career so far?
Uh, hmm. I know when I was when I was on OVW and I wrestled Freya, and I did a storyline with her, and there was a moment where we did it for her title. She was a champion at the time, and we did this one spot where she was supposed to jump off the top of the top. I don't know if it was a top or second rope for like a leg drop on me, and that it looked good, and the crowd loved it because she ended up beating me. But that was the worst leg drop ever. Like, I couldn't breathe. I thought I was dying. I didn't know what was going to happen. They're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, but this is cool." I don't know. I know it's like a bad thing, but a good thing at the same time. I just thought it was a great moment because it just put us over. The crowd was big at that time, and I don't know. That's just the first thing I could think of that was memorable to me. But yeah, it sucked. But I actually enjoyed that match at the same time. It was actually fun. She was easy to work.
I know at one point I applied to the OVW Academy last year at some point. Was going to go with my best friend, which is a host of the podcast called the Wild Side Podcast. And then we both were like, yeah, we're not wanting to like like throw everything away that we got over here with like moving and then finding jobs, finding a
Yeah.
place out of
Yeah.
nowhere.
Yeah. I thought about moving up there, but then I thought about it. I was like, I don't know. I don't have no family up there. I've heard different people that moved up there that, wanted to be there full time and they didn't get used much. So I was like, well, I don't want to take a risk moving all the way up there and then I don't get used. So I just figured if,
Yeah,
this is before I stopped going for different reasons. But I was like, if I'm ever move up here full time, I need to know that I'm being used and not just, wasting my time and having a hunt, 'cause I work from home, so it's not like I can't take my laptop with me, but
yeah,
it's still costly. Like, I looked at the price just to get the U-Haul, and I was looking at about over $1,000. Driving my U-Haul, driving my car. Like, it's very expensive to move to another state, especially as far as Kentucky. So if I'm not guaranteed anything, to me, it's not really worth it unless it'd be different if I had a lot of money. If I had like somebody, sponsoring it and or paying for it, sure. But when it's coming out of your own pocket, it has to be worth the investment. At the time, I just didn't think it was really worth it. So I just made the
yeah.
decision not to. So I get it.
I know I have a couple of my friends, they were at OVW. Haley J, Hollywood,
I love Haley. I
and
worked her a couple times.
Dream Girl Ellie and the Orion.
The who?
Orion?
Oh yeah, yeah, I know you're talking about. That's the blonde hair one,
Yeah.
right? The one with the
Yes,
guitar.
Dream Girl. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Me and Fred did a tag match with him and Omar. And like he was supposed to hit me in the face and he did it and the crowd got so mad. Because I guess they're very traditional there. So when he gave me that hit, he was gentle, but I was just so like he hit the shit out of me. I'm sorry, I don't know if you can cuss around, but he hit me really like I made it like he hit me hard. The crowd went crazy. They was so mad. They booed him out the building. It was fun though.
I had him on my recent episode that just went up, and like all my questions, I was surprised. Like he went full detail, and I was like, why did he not charge me for this? Because like I just felt like I just went to a seminar
Oh,
and
he's really
everything. Like
nice.
I
He's
felt
really good.
pay him or anything because he
Oh
was
yeah,
like talking about his NXT time, his AEW time, OVW time, coaching down in Florida with Malachi Black and Selena Vega.
okay. I didn't get to
So
talk to
they,
him much, but I feel like a lot of people that at OVW had a lot of experience, and then when I went up there, so it was a lot of learning I got to experience down there for sure. It wasn't just people that on the same level as me; it was people that were better than me, and that's they
yeah,
always say you want to be in front of people who are better than you. So when I was there, I mainly talked to people that had at least 5+ years of experience. Because at that time I only been doing it for 2 years. So, it
yeah.
was a definitely a learning experience. I loved it.
OVW sounds fun. I will say that. Just hearing everybody's stories and everything.
Yeah. One thing about it, I guess for me, it was just stressful because it was on live TV. Like
Yeah,
my first time there, I was there for a battle royal. I was for the yearly rumble they do in January, and I was under the impression it was just being recorded. I had no clue that it was actually live. So I get there, I'm all good, I'm
yeah.
comfortable. It's just another show, and like it's an indie show, whatever. And they tell me, okay, we're about to go live. I said, what? What were you talking about? I got super nervous at that point. I mean, I still went out and did pretty good from what I was told, but I was stressed at that point because I was like, oh my God, I'm on TV. I didn't even know. I was like, I didn't get this right. I was all in my head at that point. I think that's probably the only
Yeah.
thing that might have been something I wasn't used to. But outside of that, the energy was positive. Everybody was nice. I don't think I ran into anybody that ever gave me a problem. And I love the fact that like Al or some other people would take the time to talk to you and explain what you need to work on. And I would literally take all the information back to my trainer and say, hey, this is what I was told I need to work on. Let's do this. And he would help me correct it. I actually love being there. Probably wants to go back, but I'm not sure.
Can you describe the feeling of winning your first championship?
Um, I haven't won those a lot. The first time I did it, I guess because the type of show it was. I guess because it was one of those like shit shows. It was cool in the moment, but it wasn't like a big crowd, so it wasn't like an exciting moment. But it was cool that I did feel honored that they felt that I was good enough to carry the title at least, because not everybody's
Yeah.
is championship material. So no matter where you're at, if they want you to have the title, that means they see potential in you or they see something in you that feels that you can carry it. I guess like carrying the company type situation. So I mean, it was a cool experience for the most part. It wasn't, I took pictures and everything like that, but if I ever want a champion, I want to be like on a bigger platform where there's like a bigger crowd and, a place that kind of matters more. But yeah, I'm just being completely honest about how I felt about it.
How do you handle the mental and emotional aspects of wrestling?
You cut off. Say that one more time.
How do you handle the mental and emotional aspects of wrestling?
That's a good question. um, that's it. Just trying to keep focused. I don't have the biggest support system, but I do have people that I talk to try to relieve my stress. Like I guess I'm my biggest critic when it comes to it wrestling, but wrestling it can be very emotional, it can be very exhausting. And what I will say is though that I've made decent friends throughout the years, and a lot of them reach out to me like they know I'm going through something. They will actually reach out to me and give me words of encouragement, which is helpful, even if it's just one time. But for the most part, I just try to stay focused. I just try to work out, train. I just try to keep myself distracted, and I try to focus on what I can do, and I focus on what I can't do. because if I try to focus on the things I can't do, it's just gonna put me to a state of depression and frustration. So I just try to just keep myself focused and on track with what my goals and things I want to do. So that's a yeah, that's a good question. It's not easy, but it's doable.
Treasure. What just there we go. See if that works better. All right, so I'm about to start the segment. Which people, if you were new to the ship, reconnecting. All right, so let's start this segment called Trev Shock. For people that are new to the show, it is like your flash questions that you do in business meetings,
Hmm.
where you got a certain time to answer them all.
You have to what?
Certain amount of time to answer amount of questions.
Oh,
Like
okay.
if you're in a board meeting and all right, so mine is you got 50 seconds to answer 6 questions.
Hmm.
All right, you ready for this or no?
Yeah, I mean, it's just your thing keeps cutting in and out, so I'm trying to catch what you're saying as you're saying it. I heard something about a
Uh,
50-second question.
yeah, 50 seconds to answer 6 questions.
Okay.
All right, so I'll start it after the first question, and then
Hmm.
it goes on from there. Um, favorite pre-show snack?
You said favorite what?
Pre-show snack.
Your thing's cutting out, so I can't understand what you're saying. I'm sorry.
You're good. Favorite pre-show snack?
Oh, okay. Um, ice cream, popsicles.
Pre-show song.
Anything that's ratchet. Anything that gets me hyped up.
Favorite wrestler growing up.
Shawn Michaels.
Favorite sports team.
Uh, I guess the Cowboys. My dad was a Cowboys fan. I used to watch it with him.
Favorite color.
Blue.
Favorite type of music.
Alternative
And you beat
pop
it
music.
with 13 seconds.
I know my stuff.
Um, what are the biggest challenges of being a professional wrestler outside of the ring?
Um, I guess editing the videos. Like when you get your matches and you have to edit it to,
Yeah.
or even doing promos and having to edit it. And the promos itself stress me out anyway, just because I'm an overthinker. But having to edit it down, especially if you have a promoter that wants it within a certain time frame, because you got some that are very picky, it becomes even
Yeah.
more stressful with that. And I got to edit this and edit that and try to put the flyer on it. Should I put music? Should I not put music? And then, when I cut my promos, I also ask, people's opinion on it before I even post this. That way it don't sound stupid. So I feel like just editing and dealing with videos in general is probably the hardest part about wrestling. And that's just my opinion on that one.
How do you feel about the business side of wrestling and shaping the storylines and promotions?
I feel like they're necessary. I feel like it's cool to have matches with people because there's always going to be a match people just want to see. But I do also believe that storylines are necessary too because you only have so many matches, especially with certain promotions that use the same people over and over again. Like if you keep having random matches with this, over and over again, it gets boring. So I do believe storylines are necessary. I do believe building it up and even like promos and stuff like that to get people interested. I honestly think that matters, and I think that's what they've been doing for years, and it's always worked. So that's just something I feel about it. It's necessary.
Yeah, You could wrestle any legendary wrestler from the past. Who would it be and why?
Jacqueline. Just
Jacqueline?
because, yeah, just because she was, I don't know, just something about her. She was amazing.
Yeah. If you could attend a wrestling seminar with any wrestler, who would you pick? Okay. I've heard Triple H just to get the mindset behind WWE and everything. And I was like, that's interesting. I was like, I never thought about that, like doing a seminar with him. But I was like, that's also like kind of hard to do because he's always on the road and everything. Like, we go hunt him down with who? Yeah. If you could have a wrestling legend as your mentor, who would you choose? Shawn Michaels. What's your opinion on the wrestling crossover events with other sports and entertainment industries? What's your opinion on wrestling crossover events with other sports and entertainment industries? What advice would you give to an aspiring wrestler? Yeah. Um, can you talk about a significant rivalry you had and how it helped you grow as a wrestler? Just a rivalry you had that helped you grow as a wrestler. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. What was it like working with a particular wrestler that you really clicked with in the ring? Yeah. 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 Can you describe your training process and what was the most challenging part of learning to wrestle? Yes, and what was the most challenging part? Yeah. Um, what brings you joy outside of the wrestling world? Yeah. Yeah. Um, what is your favorite gear that you have ever had made? Um, and then where can they find you on social media? Okay. And then thank you, Olivia, for being on the podcast. Uh, and then thank you to the sponsors of Apple City Championship Wrestling, Wrestling Evolution, and the TBD Wrestling, which is owned by Bojack and two. Um, and then guys and ladies, this goes for people that want to enter in the T-shirt contest. We do one for the wrestlers, and for the fans, you just go to the link tree on social my platforms on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube. They're all there, and you can enter to win a free T-shirt out of 5 designs. We had a professional company design 5 different logos just for this contest. So I was like, why not? Let's see how it goes. All right. See you at one of the shows down the road. No problem.